streaming, see what happens when I do that. Right. Am I going live? Yes, I am. Share. Face cloth. Come on, pedal hard. And twatter. Right, good. Sorted. Oh, hello, Woody Black. Welcome. How you doing? Got the recording on? Yes, I have. I am both streaming and recording, so that if, for any example, YouTube decide they don't like what I'm broadcasting, and they decide to pull the plug in the middle of the stream, which does happen sometimes, I have a copy which I'm making independently of them. How are you, Woody? How you doing? There's a few people, wait for a few people to join us, and we shall begin. Or end, because of course we're talking about the end times. Hello, Legend Real. How you doing, guys? All right. It's funny how weird things happen, isn't it? You know, it's like weird things come into my life. I mean, I don't necessarily believe they're all paranormal or all whatever, but sometimes it's just odd when these things happen. You know, like most of you've seen my last video, something strange going on. I order a book. Ah, TK, hello. I ordered this book, right? I mean, I was using Audible. I've told this story before, but for any of you who haven't seen There's Something Strange Going On, it's the last 10 minutes of that video. I put a link in the description box to that. I've been reading these books, and I ordered one. Hello, Pookie Nana, how you doing? Yeah, it's to be honest, it's unnerved me a bit, which is why I'm making this video, really. Yeah, how you doing, Pookie? I've been listening to as many as I can on Audible, because Audible's like really good. Like I said, I can put it on my earphones when I'm at work. It's quicker than just reading books. You know, I like reading books, but I just when I want to read something quickly, it's not something I want to indulge or luxuriate in. You know, I will simply get the on Audible. Just listen. It's quick listen rather than a deep listen. Audible is best. And so I couldn't find this book. I wanted on Audible, and I thought, oh, wow, dear, whoa, oh, let's have a look. Is it available in paperback? Yes, it is. Nice, cheap, used copy. I'll have that. Amazon Prime, 2-day delivery. Great, that's brilliant. Trackable package. Hello, Darren. How are you? Trackable package. You track it, and it says I got an email the evening before, saying, "Hello, Al McCall. Your order has been dispatched." Great, I thought. And, you know, then I get another email. Your order will be delivered sometime between 1800 and 2100 hours. Hi, Tina. How are you? I thought, brilliant. And then you even have a little map. If you've ordered stuff from Amazon, you might be lucky enough to do this. You have a little map, and it says your package is the delivery van with your packaging is here. There's like a little spot on the map near where you live. And I thought, cool. And then it says your package is only 7 stops away. And I thought, yeah, that's great. I mean, it won't take long before it's here. And I thought, oh, I'll make some dinner. So I went out and started cooking in the kitchen. You know. And in my place, I've got like it's quite a small place. You poke your head around the side by the kitchen door. So when you're cooking, you can actually look over your shoulder, lean over a bit, and you can see out of the kitchen door. Legend Real says it's a poltergeist. Well, maybe for this particular thing, you see, it's the subject matter of the book, which is the subject matter of this live stream, which has so unnerved me. I mean, there is a superstitious. I'm a rational person, but I have a superstitious side to me, like I think most people do. Um, and so I'm sitting there stirring the pot, and the pot's getting angry. Yeah, ha ha. And 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 suddenly I hear something delivered. I hear something pass through the letterbox. I know the sound of it. You know, when you live in a house, you learn different sounds. They become familiar to you. You know, they become familiar. Yeah, it's And so I heard the sound of what I thought was something being posted through the letterbox. And when I looked, and there was nothing there. And I thought, oh, that's all right. No, it's not here. I must have been imagining things. You know, that's my first thought. I didn't immediately think, ooh, something ghostly's going on. I can't see it. Hello, Ian. How are you? Ian 108 is in the house. Welcome. And then, and so I go back to my computer. After I've cooked, so I go back into my room where my computer is, where my bed is and everything. And I say, oh, it's going to be close anyway. It was going to be 2 stops away by now. I spent out 20 minutes cooking after all. So I pick up my dinner, carry it into my room. Hello, Michelle. How are you? Michelle Sovereign is in the house. Welcome. So I carry it into my bedroom, and it says, your package has been delivered. I thought, what? I go back and I double check. It's not there. And I thought, it's odd, because I heard it being delivered. I didn't see it delivered. Went and checked. It wasn't there. Now, if anything gets delivered, it's put into pigeonholes. We have like pigeonholes by the door in a little box, in a little shelf. There's one for me, one for Ahmed, one for Hossan, and there's a spare one which used to be jellies, which we now use that for junk mail. And if anything gets delivered, for anyone, whoever happens to be nearest to the door when it happens, the front door, goes and puts it in the pigeonhole. So that's what I did. The postman's unlikely to make a mistake. I mean, I did check the other flats. I knocked on my neighbours' doors. I knocked on 5 of my neighbours' doors, even people I hardly ever speak to normally, to say, did anything get delivered for me? It has that. Normally, it's a kind of unspoken agreement. Even people I've never met or spoke to will come and like put things through my letterbox. I'll do the same for them if something like that happens. It's up to the postman to make the mistake. The postman would have had to go into a stairwell if it's in the other flats above me. Our door is the most obvious one because it's a ground floor. It's the most obvious door you put something in. So it's weird. And it's labelled flat 1, flat 1, and then my address. And I just thought that was odd. And what's more, I was alone in the house. No one else was in. I know that for a fact. I was alone in the house. No one else could have picked it up. If anyone had picked it up, they'd have put it into the pigeonhole. And then what happened, says TK? Well, then I heard this loud banging sound outside. Dum, dum, dum. And I saw a door creaking. No, not really. Hello, DJ. How are you? No creaking doors. No evil footsteps. That's when it got even... Well, the weirdness continued, because then I went on to... Hello, coincidence theorist. Says, look into the abyss long enough, Ben, and you well know the abyss will start looking back at you. You know, that's kind of what I'm afraid of. It's... I don't know. I'm not... Like I said, I'm not a naturally superstitious person, but I did get unnerved by this. Oh, TK, yeah, it was Kindle. It was Audible, yeah. What happened was I'd been looking for this book on Audible and couldn't find it. I went on to Audible. Pookie Alice says loads of ghosts, yes. Then I went on to... I just happened to glance at Audible, and the book that I had been looking for earlier, which I just... The book that I'd ordered, which I ordered as a paperback because I couldn't find an Audible, was suddenly on Audible. It was suddenly there. I won't tell you what I won't tell you what the book is. Partly because I want to do a full review of the series. It's a series. It's one of a series of books. And secondly, I feel a bit unnerved by everything what happened. I really am. I mean, I'm not about to get hyper superstitious. I'm not about to become a I'm not about to become very religious, I think, in a conventional sense. I mean, so, this is the sort of thing that would make some people like go to church and things like that. TK says, so it got delivered to Audible. No, yes, well, it was weird because it's almost like it appeared on Audible at the same time that the book that was delivered didn't turn up. Hello, Sonaris Ashtree, how are you? How are you? Okay. It's like the book didn't turn up in the post, the paperback, and then suddenly it appears on Audible. I ordered it because of the paperback. I ordered the paperback because I couldn't get it on Audible. The paperback is... I hear it being put through the door. It says on Amazon it's been delivered. I have actually put in a complaint, although, to be honest, I mean, if it did disappear, it's not their fault, is it? Pookie says, up next, Ben reviews the Necronomicon. Oh, right, yeah. H.P. Lovecraft. He's cool, isn't he? I've read a couple of his stories. I've not read anything but some of his longer works, but I've read a couple of his stories. I think he's really cool. It's really it's like suspense horror. It's really good. And Michel says that's certainly odd and a bit spooky. It's like the book which didn't turn up, which I heard arrive and Amazon say arrived and then vanished, suddenly appears on Audible. It's scary and it's spooky. I mean, some people would be more unnerved by me than this. I mean, I'll give you an example. Some people I know, they played a trick on... it was quite a nasty trick to play, actually, on somebody. Some people I know in Brighton, they talked about this trick they played on their friend. It was someone they worked with in an office. This person was like really superstitious and really sort of like holy roller kind of person. Pookie says maybe your delivery was written in disappearing ink. It must be, and paper. Disappearing ink and paper and disappearing packaging as well. But this lady in Brighton, she's like really superstitious and church going, very, very always scared of demons and things like that. And they bought her a copy of the Ars Goetia, this occult textbook. And they just said, have a read of that. She said, oh, no. And she was so scared about it. Like, she didn't just give it back or anything. She took it to the end of a pier in Brighton and threw it into the sea. Hello, Caligula Commodus, how are you? And then what they did was, what the friends did, they decided to carry on with the trick in quite a nasty... Well, it was, I suppose they found it funny. In retrospect, it was probably funny. They bought another copy of the book, the Ars Goetia. They soaked it in a bowl of salty water and they put it in a desk drawer at work. You can just imagine, can't you? Hello, MJ, how are you? Oh, says, all right, Ben, mate, you cover interesting topics, man. Keep it up. Oh, thank you very much, MJ. Thanks for the people. And Legend Real says, looking forward to the show. Thank you, Ben. Jim. Oh, thank you, Jim. And Iron Man Spartan says, Jesus is Lord. Amen. All right. How many of you have watched my... Oh, Nihilist Lives Matter. Hello, how are you? Billy Shears Campbell, good evening. Oh, Billy, do listen to the Herpanmo show tomorrow night. It's about the Knots Roswell. You'll enjoy it. I put a link on the group. Oh, thanks, Em. Em says I'm an interesting fellow. That's cool. You know, hello, Villanora. How are you? Villanora exists. I met him. You know, it's like... I don't want to get spooky. I mean, I've watched The Omen. I was actually watching The Omen before. I've watched it several times, but I did watch it on... There's quite a good copy on YouTube at the moment, actually. Good quality. Michael Brinks. Hello, Michael. How are you? He says, it's the postman who's stolen the package. Michael exists too. I've met him. He was at the event in Denmark, and I actually met him. He's cool. The thing is, Michael, it says that it was delivered, and it's not really very valuable. It's like a second-hand paperback book, which is not really... These things often are usually not stolen because they're fairly... There's no point really stealing them. You could only sell them for a few pence. And what's more, Amazon said it was delivered, and I heard it being put through the letterbox. TK, do you suspect that the book has been stolen, or what else? Well, I don't... Firstly, books usually aren't stolen. It's not paperback books. Pookie Nana... All right, I'll come to you in a minute, Pookie Nana. Secondly, if it was delivered, I think there's both Amazon say it was delivered, and I heard it being put through the door. I heard something being put through the. I didn't see it being put through the letterbox. I heard the sound of a large package being put through the letterbox. That's just what I heard. And then I went and look. It wasn't there. Now stolen. I mean, it would have to be stolen by someone in the flat. But no one was in the flat except me. If anyone else had been in, they wouldn't have stolen. I've never known Ahmet and Hossan steal anything from me. I've never stolen anything from them. We just put, in terms of postage, we just put things in. The only theft we had was when we had a break-in a few years ago, and Ahmet's laptop got stolen, which he was quite pleased about because it was an old thing he was going to throw away. Pookie Nana says, did you get to read the comments under your last video? Yes, I did, Pookie. Pookie, I will be doing a comments reply video very soon where I'll cover all those comments. I will. Darren says, got to go, mate, at work. Okay, take care, Darren. This is NSFW here stuff, I think, possibly. Yeah. TK says, if not stolen, then what theories do you have remaining? Well, there's two main ones. Firstly, it wasn't delivered, and I was mistaken about hearing it had been delivered, and Amazon was mistaken about saying it was delivered, which it seems a bit far out. I heard something being delivered, put through the letterbox, and I mistook it. Maybe it was the bubbling pan or something, and my brain misinterpreted it. And then Amazon say it was delivered, and it wasn't. That's the first time that's ever happened with Amazon Prime. They're usually quite good. Hello, Jock of Ages. How are you? Second possibility is that it was delivered, and somehow it was taken from my home when only I was there, and the door was locked, or it was shut anyway, and it certainly wasn't opened. I didn't hear anyone come in. I would have heard them. I definitely heard someone come in. And then it's just gone. Taken, TK. Yeah, taken as in the Steven Spielberg sense. Yes. Caligula says, has the cop who killed George Floyd been sentenced? I heard he got 40 years. He hasn't been sentenced yet. I don't think so. And I'll be saying a bit about that later. I'll be talking about that because there's a lot to say about that. Nihilist Lives Matter says, maybe MI5 took the book. Do you have any missing shoes also? No, nothing else has gone, as far as I know. Woody Black says, shadow people. Well, if MI5 took the book, I mean, how did they get into the house without being detected? I mean, even they're not aliens, they're not Supermen, they're not Men in Black. And Michael Briggs says, people with video surveillance have seen postmen steal the package. Yes, that's true, Michael. But that's possible. It's never happened to me before. I have reported it to Amazon just in case. But obviously, if it was spirited away from my home, it's not their fault. User 1 says, I took the book. Oh, right. Well, I hope it curses you, User 1. You see, it's quite rare. It's never happened to me with Amazon before. Never. And also, it's not a valuable item. I mean, it cost just a couple of pounds. Michelle says, I've had Prime messages saying they've delivered something and it arrives the next day. All right, well, Michelle, it hasn't. This is now last week and it hasn't appeared. As far as I know, it's not gone to anyone else in our street, because if that happens, that has happened occasionally. The postmen, they just employ some idiot who puts it through the wrong door. When that happens, people always come round and they put it through my letterbox. And TK says, is the subject of the book relevant to its disappearance? That's the creepy thing about it, TK. It's a book about the Antichrist. I've been reading a book about the Antichrist. Villanora says, hey Ben, what do you think about the American Navy videos? Do you think they could be TR-3B craft? Oh, I'll come to that in a minute, actually. Yes, I'll bring that up. Remind me, Villanora, because I'll come to that in a minute. Jock says, how are you getting on with Dr. Joseph Farrell's books? I've not actually read any of the ones that have been delivered yet. Oh, Nihilist says, sorry, I meant Mossad. They're notorious for stealing shoes. Maybe they've graduated to books. Mossad steal shoes, do they? Oh, my goodness me. Ooh. And there's me thinking they were like the meanest, baddest intelligence agency of all. Saturday Sandy says, hi, Ben. Long time no see. How's life treating you? Remember old Hunley? Oh, you're Hunley, are you, Saturday Sandy? Is that your new name? How'd you do, Hunley? Yes, I remember Hunley, of course. Yeah, Vrillon says it's a week. It's a week gone by now. We'll see if Amazon haven't actually responded to me. And then the book that went missing then suddenly appears on Audible. TK says, is it a message that warns not to read the book? Well, if it was TK, then how come it appeared on Audible? Caligula says, MI5 break into the house. According to Andrew, MI5 is already in the house and is on live evil laugh. Yes, it's I could be an MI5 agent, you know, but it's such a secretive group, you know, I wouldn't know if I was. But it's weird. It's like I suddenly go to Audible and it's there. Can you believe it? I just wanted to know what you guys thought about that. And there it is. I just like, it's right, it's because I've been searching for it. Suddenly it's like in the, it's just sitting there. It was because it's stored my search cookies and it's just there. I thought, what? Anyway, that's the basic story. Jock of Asia says, Mick West did a great video explaining the new pyramid sightings. I'd advise people to watch it. Oh, yes, I actually do. I watch everything of Mick West's, Jock. And he's wrong nearly all the time. Much to Steve Mumbling's chagrin. But, he maybe, I think, see, someone else was asking about the TR3B, and I think it was TK, Vrillon asked about the TR3B and the TK. You see, unfortunately, Mick West is right about some elements of this. For example, he says the flashing, the object is actually flickering with as if it's got flashing lights in it, and those flashing lights do match aircraft navigation beacons. But of course, that's not the end of the story. He says it's a bokeh. Well, I've never heard of that phrase before. Bokeh, B-O-K-E-H. It means a triangular filter you put over a camera lens. Now, I didn't know what that was, but that's what he says. It could be he's right now, you know. Strange that. But you see, Mick West is wrong most of the time. And as Steve Mumbling Steve Mumbling's never... it's 3 a.m. where Steve Mumbling is. He's in bed, the old lazy git. Anyway. The Crafty Nihilist. Hello, Crafty. How are you? We're going to meet up with Nick Hayes in Oxford first week in May. That's next month. Oh, would you want to meet up? Yes, I'd love to. Yes, I'd love to. Email me about it. Definitely. We'll find a place we'll find a place where we can meet up with him. Yeah, I'd like to see him again. Vrillon's ordered some sunglasses. No, who ordered sunglasses? Oh, Caligula did. Oh, I hope they arrive, says Vrillon. Yeah. It's a curious thing, Pookie. Yeah, it really is. Michael, can I repeat the name of the book? I could do, but you know, I just don't want to. Firstly, because I want to do a full review of it, and secondly, I just feel a bit unnerved by the whole thing. Caligula says, "Happy Death Day, Mark Twain." All right. Yeah, have a nice birthday cake in heaven, Mark, will you? Yeah, Crafty, I'd love to... to Mark and Liz, if I could meet up with you guys with Nick Hayes, that would be brilliant. Vrillon says Huckleberry Finn might be problematic. Jock of Ages, is Mick West a skeptic and debunker type? Yes, he is. In fact, he's one of the most... staunch skeptics. He's also one of them. He's one of the least original and least interesting, I must say. He's pretty. He's pretty boring, unfortunately. I've got to say, he's quite a boring guy. He's pretty boring. My eyes feel funny. Can I change that? How do I change the? Can I change the? No, I can't. Live chat, no. TK, are you sure you didn't pick it up, put it somewhere and then forget? If I did, then that's a very weird thing because I have no memory of doing that. It may turn up. If so, it might turn up. I might find it under my bed or something. But why would I forget that? I was perfect. I was sober. I hadn't been drinking. I was wide awake. I remember precisely what I was doing. I was in full normal consciousness. It's possible. It's always possible you do something and forget it, but it just doesn't make sense. Oh, weird, isn't it? Very weird. Jock says maybe that's why I've not heard of him. Yeah, he's not. He has this thing called. He's got quite a prolific YouTube channel. He uploads most weeks, and he has quite long. He does interesting interviews. He does interview some of the big names. Like he had Luis Elizondo on there, which is quite funny because Elizondo was really Elizondo can prove people wrong. He did that to Greenwald, the Black Vault. Elizondo seems he's very positive about his position, and he's disagreeing with Mick West. Oh, but I must admit though, the thing about the TR3B and that film, interesting, that little clip that came from the USS Russell is it's actually the least interesting part of. It's probably the least interesting part of the whole story, because if you watch Richard Dolan's latest video, the things that George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell found out about, that little video clip from the USS Russell is what the media's focusing on. But to be honest, it's actually definitely not the most interesting part of what's going on. Dolan was pointed out that there was actually 2 other ships which actually experienced strange events around and the sailors that were in touch with Corbell and Knapp were reporting other things, such as there was the USS Kidd, which is what's the USS Kidd? I think that's it's another destroyer. USS Kidd, DD-61. I think there's more than one of these. That's an old one. That's an old USS Kidd. Yeah, it's a Arleigh Burke class destroyer. Yeah, it's the same class of ship. And then there was the USS Omaha, which is a coastal patrol vessel. They also had strange stories told then. It's very, very interesting. Corbell and Knapp investigated and found out it was true. The Pentagon has admitted actually the Russell footage was real, but Mick says yes, the Russell footage might be real, but it's just showing aircraft, and could be. TK says, do Amazon say delivered to person if they post something? And Vrillon says yes. They say handed to a resident, which means basically it's a safe delivery. They just put it through the letterbox. Or if it's big enough, they'll just if it's too big to go through, they ring the doorbell and someone picks it up. Vrillon says there was that ship that all the electrical systems shut down when a UFO flew over far back in the 90s. Yeah. That happened several times, actually. That's actually happened to several ships over the years. And like it does to other vehicles like cars as well. Very often what happens is that it's happened with the Cash Landrum case, which interestingly happened the same time as the Rendlesham Forest incident. The two ladies who were driving along, the first thing they knew something weird was happening is their car broke down. And then they start seeing weird stuff. Do you remember in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, in the first UFO event there, where Neary, the main character, has his first encounter. He's driving this van, and all the electrics go on it. And that's Spielberg actually did his homework for that particular movie. He really looked into the true elements of the UFO phenomenon, and that's what he discovered. He discovered that there were people that often happens. J. Allen Hynek was one of the consultants of that film, along with several other people. I mean, the production designer, for example, he actually contacted. The reason you see the little grey aliens is because the production designer contacted people who have alien abductions. David says, hello David, how are you? Any new information on the alleged Peasmore underground base, Ben? No, that's kind of gone quiet. I know this. The people like James Casbolt, he's out of jail now, but he's not talking to anyone. That may be a probation condition. I don't know. Yeah. Paul Armstrong said some devil-worshipping degenerate housemate has swiped that book, I reckon. Ahmed Hassan. Well, they've never swiped anything before from me. Oh, they are. Villain Roy says nuclear powered. I think a test gone wrong. That denotes like an EMP, maybe the propulsion. What's that, Villain? What are you talking about? TK said, so you bought the book on Audible instead? Yeah, well, it comes free with my package on Audible, TK, yeah. So now I can just listen to it. I haven't actually started listening to it yet. I'm a bit nervous now. I'm a bit nervous. Vrillon says, Casbot is not allowed to go on the internet, Miles said. Yeah, James was... the Cash Landrum case. Right, that was... Some people have claimed that was some kind of encounter with some kind of unusual... Was it? What was it? Hang on. I'll come back to you. Sorry, I'll come back to you, Vrillon. One sec. The Cash Landrum incident... Because they got ill, didn't they? The two ladies, they got sick. Philip J. Class questioned the veracity of it. He always does, doesn't he? Yeah. Yeah, they had awful things. Nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, burning sensation in their eyes. Cash later developed breast cancer, and Landrum severe cataracts. Oh my goodness me. Investigations. What was it? So I can't find the details here. Was it supposed to be some kind of... Was it radiation or something? Villon says they took up the road. Yeah, they did that at Thieves Wood with the Knots Roswell, didn't they? Billy Shears knows about that. Christy Morland, hello. The Greys are playing tricks on you. Russell, give me that book back. Vrillon says, yeah, radiation poisoning, big time, yeah. That's odd, isn't it? It's like it seems whatever it was gave off our ionising radiation. In the Nottinghamshire case, they dug up like tons of material from the forest floor. Do you remember my investigation? I went there with Dan Bostock and Nigel Crowley, and we found it's all sand. They replaced it with sand. All the earth was taken, the topsoil was taken away. It was replaced with sand. The coincidence theorist says some books have spells cast on them, like the Master Tricks of Music back in the day, A Coven of 13 Witches. Standard practice in the 70s, sadly. Get some bells out and drive them out with sound. Oh my goodness me. Maureen, hello. How are you, Maureen? Good to see you. Dave One says the Landrum case. Yeah, we've just been talking about that, Dave, don't we? Yeah, they actually dug up the road, and this is what you do with a radiological incident, because you have to get rid of all the material, all the radioactive material, because it's dangerous to leave it lying around. Do you remember Fukushima? They had to test the topsoil of places around it, and literally dig the whole thing up. Mick Michael says, if it was Smiling Buddha who took the book, you will not be able to remember it. Smiling Buddha, is that something from the Mothman prophecies, isn't it? It was one of these weird things, yeah. Jock of Ages says, my eyes are going a bit funny this evening. Have you heard of the US Navy cutter based at Guam, which pulled a metallic disc from a Taiwanese fishing boat's net? I listened to a podcast about it last night. No. I haven't. I haven't, Jock, no. Paul Armstrong says Daniel Bostock would be a great guest for Hapanmo Radio. He would be, wouldn't he? He's been on Hapanmo TV. I should get him on Hapanmo Radio as well. You've heard his songs? He writes these satirical songs. Maureen says, I'm fine. When do you fancy coming up to do a talk? Oh, Maureen, anytime. I'd love to. I mean, yeah, I'll talk to you on. I would love to. I'll talk to you on Inbox about it. We can arrange something. Tina says, must be lots of radioactive material in Oxford from Rutherford Labs. Well, yeah. I mean, have you ever seen people going around your town? I mean, in that area, because I think we're both sort of an equal distance from the Rutherford and Appleton laboratories. You ever seen anyone going around with Geiger tubes or anything like that? Pookie says, to coincidence theory, a prayer has been made public recently, which is nothing but a binding spell. Bostock is a bellend. He's not. He's a lovely Daniel Bostock is a great guy. He's really funny. He writes these really funny tunes, and he's very very helpful to me when I was investigating the Nottinghamshire Roswell. Tanny Cummings, hello. How are you? An Australian insomniac here. Greetings to you all. Oh, greetings to you, Tanya. Could you give Steve Mumbling a ring and get him out of bed, will you? Get the lazy git up. Come on. He can come and join us just this once. TK, don't you know any remote viewers who can locate the book? I'll ask Tony Topping. But what's this podcast about? I'll Google Guam UFO. Let's have a look. Guam's an island in the South Pacific. Without the catchy songs about dames. Japan is now tracking and investigating UFOs. A fireball over Guam. Guam skies have a history. Mariana UFO incident. Great. Right. Right. I've not heard of that. No, I've not heard of it at all. June, yeah, Maureen, June would be great if you could find when you guys get back together. I'd love that. Yes. UFO Man's channel. Oh, I think I subbed to him. Yeah. UFO Man. It's on YouTube. Yeah, I love. Oh, great. Right. Hang on. Here we go. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, I'm not. I was subbed to him. I'm not now. That's fun. I was subbed to this guy and I've been unsubbed. Oh great. Coast Guard. Here we are. Coast Guard pulls 30 to 40 foot silver disc-shaped USO. Is this it?
Start to learn, speak, and understand.
Bloody ads. Okay. From the ocean. I think this is it. Wow. Oh, right, you are. I'll check that out afterwards, guys. Yeah, I'll check that out afterwards. But Maureen, yeah, June would be great. We'll inbox me. We'll sort something out. What can I do? What have I was trying to think what talk I've not done before. Tina says, I used to work for a company that sold radioactive detecting materials. Oh, right. Did any guys in dark suits turn up and buy any? Villanora said, wow, contacting the desert, virtual weekend ticket, 143 quid. Oh, man. You know, to actually go there, I'd be willing to pay that much, but not for a virtual ticket, not for Zoom, no. So that's too much. Dave says, love Bostock. Yeah, he's cool. Sue, hello, Sue. Sue Hayward-Tonkin is here. Great. Well, Sue, you can, another one who is willing to brave the lure of her bed and stay up and take part. I don't know why Steve Mumbling can't do that. Give the lazy old git a kick, will you? Get him out of bed. I'm thinking of like doing a live stream one day. It would have to be a weekend probably. where I do it like a bit earlier, like 5 p.m. or something, and I think that'll be about 1 a.m. where Steve is, which means he could take part. But I think that'd be fun. Just have Steve mumbling on a live stream. Villon says it'd be great if you could do a screen share, Ben. All right, I'll see what. Let's just have a go then. This worked before. Yes, it works. Good. All right. Oh, yeah. I've been teaching myself how to do that. This is the actual. There, you can actually see the. This is the Coast Guard pulls USO out of ocean thing. And that looks quite interesting. It's just over an hour long. So yeah, that looks quite interesting. So thanks very much. Tony Topping, TK, did you see him on Talk Radio? Did you see him? Oh man, that was bloody good. That was. Clearly, I know you don't like Dan. I know you don't like it. Hello, Dan Rowe, Sam Rowbottom. How are you? What's the book called, Ben? I'm not going to say to Sam for two reasons. Firstly, I'm planning to do a full review of the entire series of books that I've been reading. It'll probably be a written review on her Panamo voice. It probably won't be a Panamo TV video, so you'll have to go and check her Panamo voice. Secondly, I'm a bit unnerved by the whole. I'm afraid I'm a bit unnerved by the whole business with the thing disappearing. And I mean, it's one of these weird. I can't prove it, but it's just very weird. I can't prove that's what happened. Paul Armstrong says, "Why all the hate for Bostock?" Yeah. Dave says, "Was it Area 52 where they pretended to be on the moon?" Lol. It could be, yeah. I mean, it's somewhere like that, you know. Pookie Nana says, "Bill Cooper spoke of watching a UFO fall from the sky and then sink into the sea without breaking the water." That's right, Pookie. Really big one, he said, size of an aircraft carrier. He was actually on a submarine, a surface submarine. When he returned to Pearl Harbor, which was his base when he was in the Navy, and he was hauled in front he had to go to see his commanding officers. He went up to his commanding officer and they just said, "Look, there's some guys here who want to see you." And he saw these guys in suits. He was sent in to be interviewed by these guys in suits. And they said, "What did you see, sailor?" And he starts to tell them, and they slam their fist down. They say, "You saw nothing. You understand me? You saw nothing at all." They're really rough with them. I think they were CIA. Yeah. TK says, "I believe this is a big ruse by Ben, and he didn't get the book from Amazon. He's now pretending he didn't because he found it on Audible and is pulling a fast one." TK, the Eve Little Faith. I'm not, I swear, I'm not. I mean, I can't, none of this is provable. I could be making the whole story up, I know that, but I'm not. I'm really not. TK's, Vrillon says Tony Topping should be on TV adverts. He's very good, isn't he? Yeah. Maureen says, "You've already started meeting again with Truth Seekers Northeast. That's brilliant. Can I inbox you, Maureen, and we'll sort out a time. I've got to work out. I've done most of my talks for you, but I can do a new one. I've done the zombies. I've done the skeptics. What haven't I done? Clifton James says, "I hear hundreds have passed in Africa from the jab. Those who have taken it, because I know that in Africa they're actually very aware of this sort of thing. As I've said this before on my last video, or a few videos ago. They know. I mean, there's that guy, the president of what is it? Was it Tanzania, Mozambique? What was it? He's dead. He just died. And he was stopping vaccinators giving the vaccine in his country. And the thing about it is, like, they're aware of this because of AIDS. Now, the number of people in Britain who have AIDS, I think it's 30% of 1%. It's less than 1 in 300 people have caught AIDS, and they're still mostly within the high risk groups. Yet in Africa, that's far higher. I mean, there are some communities where 75% of people are HIV positive. How the hell did that happen? And if they've been going around having continuous gay orgies, you still wouldn't see that enormous level of infection. How did that happen? And Bill Gates has been spending a lot of time in Africa, hasn't he? He seems to spend most of his time there promoting various things. Thanks, Michel's just explained what it is. It is the Antichrist element that's given me a bit. I did sort of like. It's not like some crow lands on the top of my. It's not some big dark evil-looking raven or something outside my window like in The Omen. It's just a weird synchronicity. You see, it's like the book. The book didn't turn up, and I thought, well, what can I do? Well, it's on Audible. Suddenly, it's on Audible. It wasn't there before. Now it's on Audible. Michael says the smiling Buddha is your second personality. You have personality splitting just like me, but you do not know if you cannot remember it. What, the smiling Buddha is my... All right. Smiling Buddha is my... Oh, dear. Maureen says, who's going to London this weekend? Oh, there's the big protest, isn't it? Oh, I'm going to have to miss it again. Oh, yes, work and everything. But you're going to go again, Maureen? That's brilliant. Coincidence Theorist says, I've always loved Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Especially the Devil's Tower, Bear's Teepee. The Kaya will refer to it as a loft on a rock, or tree rock. It looks like a tree stump. The Book of Enoch. It does. I thought, like, when I was a little kid, I thought it was like a fossilised tree or something. Caligula says, Bostock is Co-Intel, Black Ops, Mossad, CIA, ultra-low intelligence. Caligula, stop. You've been watching too much Rich Planet. You really have. It's all right. It's all right in small doses, but just don't overdo it. David says, does anyone have a link to the Coast Guard UFO story? Well, it's here. Like, it's. Can you see it? It's. Let me just show you. It's there. Do you see it? It's on this UFO man. He's called this guy UFO man. This is his channel. Oh, which I was subbed to, and I've been unsubbed, so I've now resubbed to him. I don't know. That happens occasionally. It looks quite. It looks good actually. And it's this one here. It's called Coast Guard pulls 30 to 40 foot disc shaped silver USO. USA unidentified.
At Ring, we reinvented the door.
Okay. Unidentified submersible or submarine object. So Maureen says there's a few from Truth Seekers Northeast going to London. That's brilliant. I hope you have a good time. Sue says, if I knew mumbling, I'd give him a forehead slap to wake him up and join here. Yeah, come on, Steve, get out of bed. Would you guys be okay actually doing like a late Saturday or Sunday afternoon live stream on UFOs that you can join in with? That would be cool. And Sam Rowbottom says, I recognise your name, Sam. Yeah, you're on Facebook with us. Jesus is truth, says Iron Man. I'm pleased that's... Now, the thing about Jesus, I understand, like, because you're Christian, that this whole thing to do with the Antichrist will make you nervous, or like, or it'll put you in the frame of mind. And the thing about it is, it's like, I understand why people who have these experiences sometimes like go to church and they ask for, excuse me, exorcisms and things like that. But the concept of the Antichrist is not unique to Christianity. It appears in other religions as well. Like, there's lots of warnings against false prophets in the Hebrew Bible. In Judaism, there's a parodic anti-Messiah figure type called Armilus, who's said to be the offspring of Satan and a virgin, who appears in some non-legalistic philosophical schools of Jewish eschatology, such as the 7th century Sefer Zerubbabel and 11th century Midrash Vayosha, who is described as a monstrously bald-headed man. Oh, God. Sounds like me. With one large and one small eye, deaf in his right ear and maimed in his right arm, while the left arm is 2 1/2 ells long. He symbolises the ultimate victory of good over evil in the Messianic age. Now, in Islam, they have something called the Al-Masih al-Dajjal, which means the deceptive Messiah, an important figure in Islamic eschatology. The figure is described in the Hadith like the Dajjal is said to emerge out of the east at a specific location among the sources. He will try to imitate the miracles performed by Jesus, such as healing the sick and raising the dead, the latter done with the aid of demons. He will deceive many people, such as weavers, magicians, half-castes, and children of prostitutes. All right, that's but the majority of followers will be Jews in foreign clothes. Eventually, the Al-Masih al-Dajjal will be killed by Jesus, who, upon seeing the Antichrist, will cause him to dissolve like salt in water. All right, but it appears in other things that it's got Ahmadiyya here, which is kind of a Ahmadiyya is kind of like a. It's like a very kind of like millenarial type of Islam, which where they believe there's like the Mahdi, who is like the final imam, exists in the world today. And there was a guy, I think in the 19th century, who believed he was the Mahdi. That is the last imam, the harbinger of the age of the second coming. Baha'i, all right. The Antichrist is considered to subvert the religion of God from the inner reality, with men such as Abul Baha. Christ was the divine creator of unity and love. Whenever discord prevails instead of unity, wherever hatred and antagonism take place, the Antichrist reigns instead of Christ. Right. But there's been other forms of the Antichrist as well. There's been like the idea, like in other religions, there's this idea that there's embodiments of evil. There are people who are essentially possessed by monstrous goings on, monstrous things. Maureen is. I did the Helen Duncan talk. That was the first one I did for you, didn't it, Maureen? Yeah, and I've done the BBC one. Yeah, have I done Skeptics? I think I did do Skeptics. Yeah, I've got some left. Yeah, Tanya Cummings said it was Tanzania, the guy who died. Yeah, the president of Tanzania, who stood up to Bill Gates. Funnily enough, is the president of Mozambique, and it was the island nation off the coast of Africa. He died as well after standing up to Bill Gates. TK says, come on, Ben, I've seen a rumour about you on YouTube. Come and get me, Agent 62. They know it's me. Oh, Charles Unleashed has been spreading that, hasn't he? Yes. Oh, are you talking about Andrew Johnson? Go on. Oh, yeah, he's... TK says, Andrew Johnson's going insane about his ill-timed comment. Oh, well, he didn't... He's completely unrepentant. Yes. But there you are. That's how it goes, isn't it? Paul Armstrong, Andrew Johnson doesn't get the irony. No, this is why I think he's a bit of a spurg. He doesn't. He takes everything. Everything has to be literal. Maureen, I think, has just recruited a new member of Truth Seekers Northeast. Yeah, well done, Maureen. Michael says Bluefish often took my stuff for half a year before giving it back to me. He did it to prove his existence. You know, Michael. I mean. What if it is something like that? Yeah, what if it's you see, what else am I supposed to think when something just goes missing like that? I hear it being delivered, it goes missing, and it's like... Caligulus Commodus says, Ben, what do you think of Matt Taylor? Well, Matt has posted here in chat. Matt actually joined the live stream on... he joined the live stream when I was doing a tribute to Ian. It's, you know, I don't know a lot about... I haven't watched his channel for a while. I subbed to it several times. I've subbed to all his other channels. I subbed to his new channel. Was it Guerrilla Media? I did say, like, we had an argument when that time with Greg Nicoletos at one of the one of the AV conferences. I had an argument with Matt about that, but we're still friends, and we still get on okay. I've met him a couple of times. Pookie Nana says, I was baptised at 21, and it doesn't make me nervous at all. Oh, good. Well, I'm pleased for you, Pookie. I am. Vrillon says, Russia's UFO secrets, unidentifiable submersible objects in Russian and international waters. Yeah, it's a good book. I think that's by old Pavlov Stonyilov, or as some other people call him, Paul Stonehill. Sue says, I thought the Antichrist is Obama. Well, I don't know. It could be, you see, the Antichrist may not be one person. It may be like a number of people who've been possessed, in a sense, by evil forces. Or maybe they are people, they're not people who are in human form, like the reptilians. The psychopaths, the red dresses. You know, Thomas Sheridan talks about that, and about they're essentially people with human bodies but without human souls. So I don't think the Antichrist is one person. Villon says, shitty blue fleece, man. Oh yeah, which he doesn't wear anymore. JD Howe, hello. What do you think of big cats in the UK? Very interesting. Yeah, there's I know I follow the Centre for Fortean Zoology and their work on big cats. Yeah, I think it's pretty likely they exist. They found footprints, they found fur, they found droppings, and they found several dead bodies. I mean, Richard Freeman used to go on. He does this they do this thing called on the track, which is like a YouTube video they do regularly. CFZ, where they go and investigate things, and they're investigating cats, the big cats like leopards, panthers, things like that. That they found like dead animals like sheep and goats, which have like the way they're killed with the skin pulled back and things like that indicates they were killed by a large cat rather than a dog or something, you know. Sue says, I've been waiting for this Antichrist since I was 18 years old, and so you better hurry up. Well, according to the stories, I mean, I'll say more about this when I talk about it in more detail, but according to the stories, the Antichrist is a key figure in the end times. How many of you have seen my video, Apocalypse Soon? I've got a link in the description box about it. Now, that's worth, if you've not seen that, it's worth watching, because it's basically like a live show that I was going to say I could do that at Truth Seekers Northeast, but I don't know how many people would be interested in it. But it's basically a live show. I probably won't ever do it live anyway, because it's not sort of very, it's not the usual truth movement stuff. But it's about this whole subject. In the eschatology of Judaism, Christianity, Islam, the Abrahamic religions, the Antichrist will turn up at the end times to try and undo the work of the of Jesus, basically the second coming of the Son of God. South Antiops, hello. So Andrew Johnson's message of sympathy to the family was worthy of Alan Partridge. Hello, Partridge. Oh yes, deepest despair. Andrew, I think he's a bit autistic. I mean, he really is. I mean, he takes everything literally. You have to explain it all. Anything that's oblique and anything that's symbolic, you have to explain to him, because, I think he's. I mean, somebody said something a bit disturbing. There's a disturbing element to the video he made about me, where the two tabs. But that could be a coincidence. I mean, if it's not a coincidence, then what he's doing is very evil, and it's disgusting. But my impression of Andrew is basically he's very, very insensitive, very heartless, but not malicious. I think he's Partridge-esque. Yeah, he is. Yes. Caligula Commodus says Ian R. Crane is the Antichrist, according to David Shaler. Yeah, he was. He said that on The Edge, and Frankie had to shut him up. We can't say that; he might sue us. It's Ian Crane. His name means the skull. Frankie actually they had a good laugh about that afterwards. Yeah. Paul Armstrong says, "How many Antichrists are there?" Well, depends what an Antichrist is. I mean, if it's like a non-human soul, like which commits evil, a sadistic entity in human form, then there's millions of them. Kagilika says Andrew is a dweeb, a sensitive golem-like creature. Oh, bleedy. He's. I sometimes think I was too hard on him, but really, I mean, obviously he's now responded, and I don't think we're going to find any kind of like. I don't think it's going to be possible to de-escalate this. So I think it's goodbye from me and goodbye from him, I think. David, splendid isolation. Hello, David. There are two beasts in Revelation. One is a religious political system of worldwide control. The other is the man of sin, the son perdition, described by Paul, here indwelt directly by Satan. It could be, yeah. There was good. The idea is there'll be like the Book of Revelations talks about a period of tribulation. Basically, there will be like a massive upheaval. The four horsemen would arrive. The four horsemen of the apocalypse. Yes. There's there's the white horseman. Behold the man rider on a white horse with a bow. Here we are. The four horsemen of the apocalypse, referred to as the four horsemen, appear in the final book, the Revelation of John of Patmos, as well as an Old Testament prophetic book of Zechariah and the book of Ezekiel. All right. The four horsemen is a white horse carrying a bow and a given crown, the figure of conquest. The second carries a sword and rides a red horse, creator of war. The third is a food merchant riding upon a black horse, which symbolises famine. The fourth and final horse is pale green, and it rides death, accompanied by Hades. I wonder, once you see, Bill Cooper called his book Behold a Pale Horse, which is a line from The Last Judgment. Yeah. That's it. Where are we now? Okay. Sue, you did watch The Apocalypse soon, and you liked it very much. Well, thank you, Sue. Thanks. It's worth watching, actually, because I think if I did that now, I'd probably make it more detailed because of the research I'm doing right now. But I will definitely be getting I'll be doing like an article probably about the books I'm reading. Nihilist Lives Matter says a Castrol GTX Blue Fleece. Yes. Alan Partridge. He turns up at the funeral with a Castrol GTX jumper on. Oh, deep despair, wasn't it? Yeah, Tony Hayes. Tony Hayes is dead. Yes. Oh, Lynn, his assistant, goes, yes. He was killed. He was putting up a TV aerial on the roof, and he fell and broke his neck. It's ironic, isn't it? He lived his whole life within TV, in the world of television. In the end, it was television which killed him. Alan Partridge goes, yeah, woo. Oh, sorry. Oh, man, a lot of them can't kind of really help it, you know. I mean, Spurgs, they can't help being like that. It's like, they just don't understand. But, I mean, I think Andrew's response to what I said indicates he does have some awareness, actually, and he's sort of doubling down rather than just saying. It'd be better if he just said he's sorry, you know. He said he just apologised. If he just apologised, that would be the end of it, as far as I'm concerned. His response is just to double down and make a video slagging me off, and an article too. He did an article and a video. It must have taken him quite a long time, and which indicates he does have some awareness of the situation, which does give him, I think, some accountability. Does give him some responsibility for what he did. Iceberg, says Pookie Nanny. He spurgs everywhere, yes. Oh, Crafty says you could definitely do the Antichrist talk live. Well, Crafty, yeah, I don't know how. If anyone's interested, I will do that. Yeah, I will just. But it's kind of like away from the normal truth movement stuff. So I mean, I wouldn't offer to do it for Maureen's group. But I think it's an interesting subject, and I'm very pleased with the video. I did a Panama radio show about it as well. I was very pleased with the video I made about it and stuff like that. Caligula says Neil Smarmy Sanders is another red dwarf type creature. What, Lister or Rimmer or the cat? Caligula, you have a go at everyone. It's Daniel Bostock, now it's Neil Sanders you don't like. Caligula, you don't like all these people, do you? David says, where is it? Richard D. Hall has been very quiet this year. Anyone know why? I think it's because Richard tends not to publish things. He's not like me, who does like a video every week or so. He would like do nothing. He won't publish anything for like a few months, and he'll be making the videos he'll be making his series of videos privately. Because obviously he puts a lot more technical effort into the videos than I do, and researching and things like that. And then he'll like put out a series of them when he's done. So I wouldn't worry if he's been quiet. I wouldn't worry, because he's probably going to. He probably will come back with a series of videos at some point. So he may well cover the Sarah Everard thing. I've got a feeling he'll latch onto that the way I did, and probably a lot of other things as well. So I wouldn't worry, David. He may well do a tour again when everything opens up. The Crafty Nihilist says, I'm the Antichrist and so is my wife. Oh, I think that's the Mark half of the Crafty Nihilist talking there. Hello, David Gregg. Definitely there's a big cat in Fife. We were out for a walk with our Rottweiler and she had huge paws. We found a cat paw print that dwarfed our dogs. David, I'd get a photograph of it and send it to the CFZ. They'd be interested in that, yeah. Caligula says, Richard D. Hall converted to Islam and now he speaks at Speaker's Corner living in a tent. Ride a cat. Oh man, I can't see that Richard doing that. You know, he doesn't strike me as the type. David says the Antichrist in Islam is the exact opposite of the Antichrist in Christianity. Jesus in Islam is not the Son of God and didn't die for the sins of mankind. John wrote this belief is actually the Antichrist. Jesus is considered a prophet in Islam. But he will in the end. The actual eschatology of Islam is very similar to Christianity. The only difference is you have like the Mahdi, who's almost like a John the Baptist type figure of the end times rather than the first times of the first Messiah. And it's very similar. Watch my video about it. It's because there's several people who claim to be the Mahdi. The Ahmadiyya faith, that is basically a group of people who follow him. He was a guy who lived, I think, about 150 years ago, who claimed to be the Mahdi. And it's still around now. They're still around today. They advertise. They put posters up. I found one, actually, in Huddersfield, a poster for the Ahmadiyya group. Pookie Nana says, the study of the colours of the horses against the colours of Middle Eastern flags is very interesting. Yeah, they tend to have, they sort of red, white, green, yeah. I don't know if there's a connection there. Jake Yorkman, peace and love to you as well. How are you? Michael has sent me a message. All right, he's inboxed me. Thanks, Michael. Sue says apparently it's kicked off with a rare type of calf being born. I think that's the age of. I think that's the turning of the ages in Hinduism, because the calf is I can't remember what it was. I think the calf is basically Shiva. The Shiva is the beginning, the god which overturns everything and rebirths it. Because in Hinduism, there's no beginning and end. There's like cycles there's yugas. Cycles. And it's very interesting, and no doubt I'll be coming back to this, because the Kali Yuga, the current age in the Hindu calendar, is due to come to an end in 2025. Oh my goodness, yeah. Maureen says, Richard D. Hall is only on his own website. I believe he's doing his house up and installing energy-saving stuff to his house, like solar panels. He's also let his hair grow longer. Oh, even longer than it is now? Richard has always had the opposite hairstyle of me, I've noticed. Caligula says, behold a pale horse. Has nice artwork on the cover. It does, doesn't it? Yeah, that is a book. It's like encyclopedic. if someone came along to me and said to me, you know, what's all this conspiracy stuff about, Ben? How do I introduce myself to it? That is one of the books I would give them. I would give them either that, or I'd give them one of Andy Thomas's books, or I'd give them David Icke's The Truth Shall Set You Free, or something like that. As an introduction, it's brilliant. Oh, right, where are we? Oh, hello, Sorenable. How are you? What was it? Where are you now? I just got to scroll up a little bit. Hi, Ben. Nice to see you, mate. I was on to Steve mumbling about the Travis Walton auntie. He's not posted a video since his last video, which is more than 2 weeks. I wonder why. Has he been quiet, old Steve? I hope he's okay. Oh. I hope he's all right. Paul Armstrong says Sanders has been quiet too. Neil Sanders is going to be on the Kev Baker show. We were talking about it when I was on there on Monday. MJ says Richard work takes months to make. Yeah, Richard does on the technical side. He's very sophisticated, so he works for, takes a long time. Yeah, it takes a long time to do things, doesn't he? Maureen says I love Richard D. Hall and Andrew Johnson. Yeah. I do. I mean, Andrew, of course, I've got, obviously I now have a personal issue with Andrew Johnson, but it doesn't affect my professional relationship or my attitude to anything he says. And Sorenable says, I hope you understand. So, Steve mumbling is about the Travis Walton auntie. Travis Walton auntie's not posted a video, or Steve mumbling hasn't. What's mumbling up to these days then? What's the mumbler doing? I should make a reply video to Steve mumbling. He always does very interesting stuff. He's a complete... See, you know, he really does some really amazing things, very good things to get into. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, 2 weeks ago. Mick West, right. Talks to Mick West and says nothing at all. All right. He hasn't made a video for 2 weeks. All right. Right. I hope he's okay. Zyvanchop says Neil Sanders did that interview a year ago. He says COVID was a genuine pandemic. It soon got deleted. Well, if he is a fake. Well, he's wrong about a lot of things. Zy, I mean, you may have seen the videos I've done, my 2016 videos, where I basically talk about Neil and the things he says and how I think he's wrong. But he's not fake. He's genuine. It's just he gets some things wrong. David Gregg, Richard D. Hall is future-proofing his house. He's getting Richard is getting very into sort of like prepping, isn't he? I'm not into prepping because I don't think it's if things prepping essentially means that there's going to be some kind of collapse, and of course it's likely to be an engineered collapse by the Illuminati. But I'd rather, I don't think it's inevitable. Rather than the energy I would put into surviving some apocalypse, I would rather put into trying to prevent it by exposing the agenda to create it. Maybe Richard's got time to do both, and the resources to do both, which is great. Maybe Steve's on holiday, I don't know. Hello, Diego Rivera. The Caligula comedy says Andrew Johnson is considered a little goat in Islam, chapter 36, verse 666. Oh, dear. He's the Antichrist. Oh, well, Richard. Who else is going to be the Antichrist? I wonder. Oh, Maureen, talking about a Zoom meeting, 7 p.m. tomorrow. If I can get my preparation, I'll try and get my preparation done in time, because I'm doing the show, of course. I'm doing the Hapanmo show at 8. But if I can get my preparation done on time, Maureen, I'll join you. Normally I have a little breather before I go on air, but I'd rather talk to you guys. I really would. Jake Yorkman says, Shiva represents the nothingness. Shiva is basically the god which overturns everything and starts everything again. It's the creator-destroyer god. And it's interestingly that's the statue you get outside CERN, isn't it? Poogie, no, we're all going to die. Yeah, of course, but yeah. John Nolan, it's the Germans, Ben, like Michael Shrimpton. Everything's the Germans. Are the Germans all Antichrist? I'm sure Shrimpton would say they are. Paul Armstrong says, cruel how Paul has so much hair and Ben has so little. Yeah. Richard, give me some of your hair, will you, please? Maureen asks if Michael Shrimpton is disinformation. No, but he's barking mad. I think he's got completely up the wrong tree on so many things. Christy Morland says, what's your opinion on the Mandela effect? Like Sex in the City and the Blue Ribbon Biscuits. Christy, I've done a review of the Mandela effect movie. So check it out. TK asked me what I think of the George Floyd verdict. Oh, this was going to come up, wasn't it? I mean, it's interesting people are talking about, they call this the George Floyd trial, where George Floyd is the person who was allegedly murdered. It's actually the Derek Chauvin trial. Derek Chauvin is the defendant, not George Floyd. It's TK. It's a typical show trial. It's. I mean, I wish I'd covered this in more detail. Someone contacted me like about a couple of hours ago saying, "You're going to talk about this, Ben. You're going to talk about it." I haven't covered it in detail. I haven't studied it in detail. I've been watching Sargon of Akkad's coverage of it, but I haven't really looked into any more detail. It's actually difficult to find any source that's not biased about the whole thing. But I mean, from what I've seen, it's scary. It's a scary situation because, from what I did study, what I did look into it, it's pretty obvious that the narrative that was originally put out, which was that Chauvin basically throttled George Floyd by kneeling on his neck when he was lying on the ground, preventing him breathing and killing him by asphyxiation, was not true. Now, if he actually, Floyd actually had been taking a lot of drugs. He was taking fentanyl. He had a lot of it. He had like 3 times the fatal dose, what would normally kill, which is likely to cause death, in his system. It's possible the stress of being arrested triggered that reaction, but to pin that on the policeman is unfair. And so what I suspect happened was, I know, I made some notes about this here. There we go. Oh, no, I didn't. All right, okay. I wrote about it on her Panmo Voice. Hang on. It was a comment on her Panmo Voice. I was writing about this because someone contacted me about this. Yeah, I really didn't think he was found guilty on all 3 counts. It didn't make sense. Now, I think she's certainly going to appeal. I think the fact that there was intimidation of the jury. Now, normally with a high-profile case like this, and it was a show trial. It was a very, very high-profile media trial. We all know the story about what it led to. I've covered this in other videos about the BLM riots and things like that, about how they really started. And how it wasn't just some grassroots, spontaneous show of indignation and horror and racism. No, it wasn't. It was all organised. It was very well funded. It was very well equipped. You know, builders' yards had large deliveries of bricks. They had large orders of bricks from all over the country before George Floyd even died. It was obviously they were waiting for something like this to happen. George Floyd was, to quote RoboCop, "We just wait till some poor sod volunteers." Now, the jury should have been sequestered. Now, the jury was not properly sequestered. They were only partly sequestered. Now, sequestering, what happens with sequestering of juries? In a case like this is what they used to do with the mafia, like with mafia trials. The jury would be protected. The jury would be kept under armed guard in a secure location. And they would be forbidden from reading newspapers and watching TV and going online. They would be basically kept in some kind of secure location, and sometimes in separate, so they couldn't even confer until they had to get together and confer. in this case, the jury, they were allowed to go home in the evenings. They were allowed to talk to their relatives. They were only sequestered during certain periods of the trial. Now, that alone should have led to an automatic retrial, especially when it was actually reported that some of the jurors were actually tracked down by gangs of thugs, and they were intimidated. They had crowds gathering outside their houses. One of them had blood poured on their doorstep, which is a definite threat of violence. That should have led to an immediate retrial, and it didn't. Well, I couldn't believe it. I was waiting. I mean, everyone was preparing for this. I mean, the shops were already boarding up their windows because everyone thought he was going to get off. Everyone thought Chauvin was going to get not guilty on all accounts. Maybe one of the minor counts, he'd get like a conviction on one of the minor counts, get a couple of years in jail. But to be convicted on all 3 counts, I can't help thinking that the juries were, because the juries weren't sequestered, they were contacted by people who threatened them or told them what to do. I don't know. But it looks like a show trial. And of course, well, anyway, yeah. Where are we now? Going to nip up a little bit. So, Christy, check out my video, the Mandela Effect review, film review. You'll find it interesting. Pookie Nana says, talking about the rebuilding of the temple. Funnily enough, that's part of the end time prophecies, because the Wailing Wall, which is all that's left, is to be rebuilt. Caligula Commodus, did Richard D. Hall ever speak at AV? He must be joking. Richard D. Hall hardly ever spoke at any event that he didn't organise. I mean, he doesn't trust anyone enough. He won't have it. He holds other people in the truth movement in such disdain and such suspicion that he wouldn't dare. I mean, he spoke at UFO Truth. That was the last kind of conference he spoke at that wasn't an event organised by himself. I think it was UFO Truth. And then, of course, inevitably he turns against Gary Heseltine. So, no, I don't think he'll ever speak at anything. He has his own events only. Sorenable says, Steve Mumlink's trying to debunk Travis Walton. Which video was that, Sorenable? Because, I mean, people have been trying to do that ever since it happened. Philip Klass was caught, actually. He was actually caught bribing some of Travis's mates to make them claim they made the story up. Where are we now? Sorrable says, every video Steve makes, I say about Travis Walton's auntie, has never made a video since. Well, who's Travis Walton's auntie? Sorrable. Pookie says that the Antichrist actually appears in the end times and pretends to be like a fake messiah. TK, why does Donald Trump say take the vaccine? Well, he doesn't. He says the vaccine. Listen to his actual words. It's very different to like Boris and Matt Hancock. He says we respect your freedoms. Now that's very interesting. He's almost like winking at you. David says Michael Shrimpton is accused of having a Walter Mitty syndrome. I don't get Michael Shrimpton at all, because he's obviously quite sane in that, you know. Jake Yorkman, I appreciate you watching Truth Seekers Northeast with me. I do appreciate. I always try to record the things I do there. Yeah. Nalif says OJ innocent, Chauvin guilty. All that needs saying about the US judiciary: money, politics is king. Yeah, money, politics, and basically identity politics. Now I think OJ got away with it. I mean, the interesting. The pathologist was the same guy who did the pathologist. It was Baden. You know, Michael Baden. He also did the he did the post-mortem on Jeffrey Epstein. as well. He said, you know, that his wife was like, what was her name? Let me just find the details. Hang on. Yeah, the O.J. Simpson murder case. Yeah, he was tried and acquitted on 2 counts of murder. Nicole Brown Simpson, his ex, she was actually really, she was absolutely, and a friend as well. It was her and a friend. She was absolutely, I think her head was cut off. She was in a terrible state. Nicole Brown Simpson, the wife. It was really a frenzied attack. I think literally she was beheaded. And it was, and of course the race thing came into it because he was black, and of course he's quite well connected, O.J. Simpson. Caligula says the knee restraint should be outlawed. If it already hasn't, that was blatant murder. If you could put the knee on the neck of a cop, your prisoner is already restrained. Well, I think that has been. I don't think they're doing it anymore. Apparently, one of the prosecution points was that Chauvin shouldn't have used that manoeuvre. That doesn't make it murder, though. I mean, just someone kneeling on your neck doesn't necessarily asphyxiate you. The prosecution claimed that that's what basically throttled Floyd, and that didn't happen. So, but yeah, I don't think they're going to use that. I don't think they'll be using that anymore. I think they're going to. But it's, that's. Nihilist lives matter. He doesn't get 20 years. There'll be riots. Nihilist, he'll get a very heavy sentence. He'll get life or something like that. But he will repeal. I think hopefully he'll get a retrial because it was as dodgy as hell what was done, and not sequestering the jury. I mean, I was watching. I wasn't studying it properly, and maybe I should have done, because then I'd know for sure. But I was watching Sargon of Akkad's commentaries on the matter, and I was pretty sure. I was pretty convinced that he was going to be acquitted. I mean, everything seemed to be going in his favour. The prosecution was stumbling really badly, and the defence had him completely up against the ropes. But then, of course, you know, if you'd asked me, is Cosmic Claire here? Hi, Cosmic Claire, how are you? Oh, there's loads. Oh, sorry, I've missed a few comments here. Claire says, yes, we're talking about Derek Chauvin, the unfortunate Mr. Chauvin, yes. He is unfortunate. I mean, he's obviously, they've obviously decided, I mean, someone must have made the decision at some point, look, we don't want more riots, let's just put this guy in jail. Just one guy in jail, who cares about him? I mean, this is it. Most of these authorities and the bureaucrats within them, they're not necessarily evil people. They're just very weak. They just don't care about what's right and wrong. And there's so many people like that, unfortunately. It's like the books. It's like the bookshops where they're selling Andy No's book. They've all taken them down because protesters turn up and they just get rid of those books. Take the books down. Most people don't care about what's right and wrong. Most people care about, well, does this or does it not generate hassle in my life? And if the answer is yes, it does, forget it. Just do anything to avoid the trouble. And of course, in the case of the authorities, it's very simple. They just say, look, just put Derek Chauvin in jail, for goodness sake. It's just one guy. Put him in jail. I think someone made the decision at some point just to do that. And then we just save ourselves the bother of all these riots. And you could say to them, well, that's not fair. It's not fair. You shouldn't go to jail. He's done nothing wrong. It doesn't matter what's fair or not. It'll just be easier for us. It'll be simpler and easier and quicker. Now, of course, now they've got a guy in the White House who's the supposed president. He's actually just the head of the demolition crew, isn't he? Who's now going to be 100% behind everything the Minnesota state does. Oh, yeah. I hope that there'll be an appeal, or I think there should be a retrial. I mean, if your jury's being intimidated, they should have a retrial with the jury 100% sequestered, like with mafia trials. And they should have a complete retrial. I was really shocked because I watched the live show, the live verdict, and I thought he's going to get a no, not guilty. Everyone thought he was going to be not guilty. The shop owners were boarding their shops up in preparation. I was so sure it was going to be not guilty, but then of course, before all this stuff about electoral fraud came about, I was also pretty sure that Trump was going to win in November, and he didn't. Well, he did, but obviously it was all overturned, and I think something similar has happened. Oh, no. Diego Rivera says Julian the Apostate tried to rebuild the Third Temple, but failed in the 4th century. Yeah, it's actually been destroyed several times, the temple. There's like Herod's temple, which is like a rebuilding, I think, which is where the Dome of the Rock is now. But there's been several temples. I know Nebuchadnezzar, the Persian, destroyed it. I think I can't remember what that was, but there's been several different temples. So it's been rebuilt about twice before. So maybe it could be done again. Fenella Kettlewitch, that's a good name. She says, I've been exporting large amounts of pebbles from Morecambe Bay for 2 weeks to all democratic states. I can't get enough of them. Well, Fenella, can't they get their own pebbles? Why do they want your pebbles from Morecambe Bay? Sue talks about the rare calf. All right, that's in. So that's to do with the temple as well. Right. Nihilist Lives Matter. Mumbling spends a lot of his time on conspiracies for a skeptic. I mean, he can't get enough. He can't get enough of it, can he? Yeah. Diego Vera, is Boris Johnson the Antichrist? No, he's not. Claire says, is the Pope the Antichrist? Claire, well, according to the prophecy of St. Malachi, Pope Francis is the last Pope. Because you know the story about St. Malachi was a 12th century bishop from Ireland. He was the Bishop of Armagh, and he went to Rome and had a vision. He was on a pilgrimage in Rome, and he had a vision. But an angel said to him there would be 111 popes after the current pope at the time, and then the church would fall. It would be the end times. The church would fall, and it would be the end of the world. Well, guess who's number 111 after that? Sean Nolan says, Putin is the man, Ben. No messing around with him. Putin is one of the few statesmen in the world I feel any respect for, yeah. Claire says, everyone knows that Pope is the Antichrist. Claire says, no, he's just a very naughty boy. Ruby Wax ruined Omen 3. Was she in that? Omen 3, that's the one with Sam Neill, isn't it? Soren says, why are you not answering me, Ben? What? All right, what? Sorry, Soren, what did you say? Have I missed one of your comments? What was it? I mean, I've been trying to go through all these comments here. There's quite a lot of them here. Michael says there'll be a false flag meteor attack in the year 2025. Meteor. That means basically the Illuminati taking a lump of rock in space and directing it towards the Earth. It could be. That's the plan. Claire says Floyd was winding him up no end. Yeah. Claire, if you look at the footage, he was kicking off really badly, and the police had to restrain him. I mean, if putting the knee on his neck was the wrong thing to do, but that doesn't make it murder. Sorenable, I can't see the comment you're referring to. All right. Waters and Biden are prejudiced to trial. Yeah, what the hell is going on with Maxine Waters? Comparing that to Trump. Trump got impeached for saying we should forcibly and peacefully make our voices heard. Maxine Waters is literally inciting criminal activity. And everyone's fine. She should be impeached. But of course she won't be. Because when something that supports the agenda, when something is in favour of the agenda, in this case it is racial grievance mongering, it's allowed, it's permitted. People like turn a blind, the authorities like look the other way. But when something's against the agenda, even in the most incredibly benign, even the most lukewarm way, they come down like a ton of bricks, like they did with Trump. Michel Sovereign, if everything has a beginning and an ending, then end times will invariably come. I think there will be a change in the cycle, yes. Diego Rivera says, is David Icke the Messiah in a turquoise shell suit? Diego Rivera, he's never going to live that Wogan interview down, is he? It's almost 30 years ago, and no one's ever going to let him forget it. John Nolan, he will get a light sentence and all hell will break loose. I think he will. Caligula says 25 years minimum. Yeah, he will get like a heavy life sentence, and there won't be any help, but he will appeal it. I think he will hopefully win a retrial. Jake Yorkman says, David Icke is not the Messiah, he's just been a very naughty boy. Many of Icke's predictions are now accepted as mainstream facts. Yeah, have you seen that documentary, David Icke, Was He Right? It's about the only decent mainstream thing ever said about him. Pookie Nana says the sentence will be severe but overturned on appeal. I hope so. I mean, David says here, how could Chauvin ever get a fair trial? Yeah, well, the best you can do, because it is such a media-heavy trial, David. The first thing you'd have to do is sequester the jury. That means you basically put them under armed guard, and they just go into the courtroom and they go to their secure locations for the entire trial. No newspapers, no TV, nothing. They don't even speak to each other. That's the first thing you do to make sure he gets a fair trial. I mean, there are ways and means within the law. There's nothing new about this. High profile media trials are nothing new. There's been many of them over the years. America specialises in this sort of thing, but it happens all over the world. There are ways and means within the law of dealing with that, and they were not. I mean, Styx was saying. I mean, he had. They said Chauvin lost his Fifth Amendment rights. What was that? Hang on. What's the Fifth Amendment? I think it's about giving evidence in court. The Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution addresses criminal procedure, other aspects of the Constitution. In 1791, one provision of the Fifth Amendment requires that felonies be tried upon indictment by a grand jury, and there's a double jeopardy clause, which basically means you can't be retried for the same offence twice. The self-incrimination clause provides various protections against self-incrimination. Basically, if you confess to a crime while you're in court as a witness. Pleading the Fifth is a colloquial term to invoke the self-incrimination clause. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly which part of this it actually refers to, but Styx was saying that Derek Chauvin, the Fifth Amendment was not honoured in his case. It was basically suspended in his case. In which case, he would have grounds for a retrial. Not just an appeal, a retrial. Gary Robinson, good evening. No, this lives matter. Putin is not a cold-blooded murderer. No. Sorenable, where's your Sorenable? I can't. Sorenable keeps saying he's putting comments here, and I can't see them. So I don't know what you mean, Sorenable. Sue says, when he dies and the church falls, that's Pope Francis. I want dibs on all the stuff in the secret vault. Yeah, I want to read those old books. Fenella says, I think the Antichrist is an energy that takes over people who don't guard their spirit from it. A bit like being overcome with the Jezebel spirit. Yes. I think that's a good. I think it is basically like the psychopath phenomenon. I think the Antichrist is simply that energy. I don't. It may be an actual single. There may be some single person who's an embodiment of evil, but I don't. The thing is, like the way the Antichrist is described, and the things the Antichrist does. I know there's millions of people who do that. I know some. I've known people like that. Look at the guy, the man I call Centaur. Look at what he did. I'm gonna see if I can put this as the featured video already, because the YouTube have improved a little bit with this sort of thing. Customized channel. Let's see. I'd like this to be the. I haven't seen what Kevin Logan has been saying about this and Christy Winters. I mean, I bet they're gloating. In fact, Kevin actually was. He was like gloating about the whole thing, as he in his own unique, inimicable way, which is very irritating. It's going to be like Brexit. You know, it's like it's going to completely divide the country. And then there's, of course, Kyle Rittenhouse. He's got to have his trial now, hasn't he? The guy who shot some people during the riot and killed. He injured someone, killed somebody. To me, it's an obvious case of self-defense. But, well, I mean, obvious cases don't actually mean anything anymore, do they? No, it's lives matter. They'll kick the can down the road and won't get a retrial for years. Be offered release on good behaviour after 5 years, but not with guilty being overturned. Not with the 3 counts. I don't think. I mean, he got second degree murder, which means I don't know if it's a mandatory life sentence. I don't know, but he'll have the other charges which he'll have to serve concurrently or consecutively. If he doesn't get a retrial, he'll have at least 20 years. I think. I don't know exactly. The American legal system is complicated. But they of course there will be delaying and blocking tactics. It'll be down to him and his lawyer to overturn that sort of thing. I mean, yeah. Caligula says, was it last year, Ben, you dressed up as Ike? Yes, it was Halloween. Jake Yorkman, the left have infiltrated all institutions in the Western world, hence democracy is now weakened and we have less power in the ballot box. Yeah, of course, that's it's the New World Order, yeah. It's Cosmic Claire says the Wu flu is becoming the new neverendum. Yes, the Wu flu is basically their 2016, Claire. It is the Illuminati hitting back over 2016. With such a blow to their agenda, they've had to strike back. They've taken desperate measures to strike back. I knew they would do something. I thought it might be something like this. I didn't know it would be a virus. I thought it might be the fake alien invasion or something like that. I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. It's possible. David says there's no single person named the Antichrist in the Bible. In Revelation, he's called the Beast. John, in his epistle, speaks of the Antichrist spirit, which is specifically to deny the Father and the Son. Brackets Islam. All right. So that would include all heathens then, as they call them. That would be Jews, Muslims, and all other people, basically non-Christians. Is Rodrigo Rivera, is Ben Emlyn Jones the Antichrist? Oh my, am I? Let's see. Is there a 666 on my head? Can you see it? Jake Yorkman. Ben, I'm currently reading Roswell Rising. Hey, Jake, well done, mate. I hope you enjoy it. If we ever meet, I'll sign it for you. Loving it so far. Thank you very much. If you enjoy it very much, check out the 2 sequels. And, of course, I'll sign them for you if we ever meet. I'm glad you're involved with True Seekers Northeast. I think I actually recommended them to you at some point. If you go to their meetings, we'll meet up. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's... I mean, I thought fake alien invasion is actually... I wouldn't rule it out, you know. I mean, Dave once has an interesting stream. Thank you very much. I wouldn't rule out a fake alien invasion, you know. It's... or something more spectacular. I mean, what they've chose to do with their strike back against 2016 was something, you know, rather unobtrusive and rather unglamorous, which is a virus. They opted for that rather than something like what we've been predicting, you know. Jay Yorkman says, "I will buy the other 2 books, mate. Have you got anything? Have you got any more on the go?" I have a book called Rockall, it's a novel called Rockall, which actually was a book in 2004. But I don't bother buying the book. There's still a few floating around. It's out of print. There's still a few floating around. But don't bother buying the book. Read the free version. There's a free edition. It's the second edition of the book. It's free, and it's on my website, Ben's Bookcase. That's halpanwellhyphen-bb.blogspot.co.uk. And just look for Rockall. Each chapter is separate. It's called Rockall. Rockall. I also have a book called Evan's Land, which I'm bringing out as a text version at some point on Ben's Bookcase, but it's available on Hapanwell TV as an audio book. That was my debut novel, which I'm almost 20 years old now. Christie said Ian Paisley once said the Pope is the Antichrist. He did, yes. He was. Oh God, yeah. He's I miss him in a way actually, because he was just so. He was another Spurg. He was just so open about everything he said. He didn't. The idea of code words and propaganda were a complete anathema to him. He just completely and utterly went crazy about and just ranted about anything was in his head. I mean, if the whole Illuminati was like Ian Paisley, then the New World Order would have ended like in the very second millennium BC. It's honest. I miss that kind of straightforwardness. I mean, among my enemies, I could deal with an enemy like that who's honest. I can't deal with. I found it more difficult to deal with one who is snide and crafty. But of course, that's what the Illuminati are. The English Bigfoot is the Antichrist. He's the mark of the beast, the appearance of one. All right. Jake Yorkman, you got Rockall on Kindle. Oh man, I mean, I've got to remove that actually because. Don't read that one. That's the old edition. Read the new one on Ben's Bookcase. It's much better. It's much better. Jake says, am I writing any at the moment? Yes, I am, Jake. I'm writing a book called The Obscurati Chronicles. I've already put 4 sample chapters online. So the first 4 chapters are already available for free on Ben's Bookcase, I may change them when the original book. I'm still thinking maybe serializing it online. I'm not sure yet, but Caligula says Richard D. Hall should do a catch-up interview with you, Ben. Get your views on current events. Or see if you can get him to do an interview with him on your channel. Oh no, he won't. He won't. He will have nothing to do with me. He has nothing to do with almost anyone now. I'm kind of too much. I'm too much in the camp of the people he doesn't like, which is most people. You know, he has like a acceptability filter as tight as a duck's ass. He really does. Very few people get through it. Andrew Johnson, Neil Sanders, a couple of others. That's it. That's why you keep getting the same guests over and over again on his shows. I don't think that's not a criticism as such, really, because I do find his show he still produces interesting original content. It's just I sometimes think to myself, well, what would it be like if he had this guy on instead of this guy? You know, and then I realise, of course, he won't have these people on because he doesn't like them. He doesn't trust them. He considers them substandard and suspicious, like he does everybody, almost everybody. So no, he would never have me back on his show again. I wouldn't ask him to be on my show. He would say no if I asked him, and he would never have me back on his show. I mean, most of the guests he had on in his early phase, he would never have back. He's actually said that. And no doubt I'm among those. And I think the issue with Andrew Johnson between me and him now, I think will put the cherry on the cake. He will defend his twin brother in the same way. Even though my issue with Andrew is completely personal, I think Richard will it'll reinforce his opposition to me, I think. Definitely. Fenella says, we haven't fully reached the herd stupidity yet. The fake alien invasion will gather a few more lemmings. They will finally take the jab because Boris informs us that it will put them off eating us. Yeah, probably. He'll probably say, take this, it'll protect you from alien abduction. You know, this is why we've got to be careful with the whole disclosure thing. I've made this point before, Fenella, and it's so easy to sort of jump and eagerly at every piece of meat that's dangled in front of us with these revelations. But we've got to be careful that it's not some form of disinformation leading us into a deceptive disclosure situation. And I've often said, the fake disclosure is the most likely one. And as Jake Yorkman will tell you, because he's reading Roswell Rising, I mean, I don't know how far you got through it, Jake, but this is something that comes into this series of books. The idea that your disclosure will begin, certainly in the first phase, it will be probably some kind of deception. Yeah. So yeah, we've got to be careful. I mean, the whole thing. I think if the lockdown eases, I made this point in my pub video I did the other day. They'll think of something else. They won't leave us alone. There has to be some kind of crisis. Otherwise, what will they do? It's like everything slips away from them unless there's some kind of crisis. Jay Dave says, do you think there's something think the virus is the end of the world for their cult? I don't know what you mean. Patrick Patel, hello Patrick, how are you? Jake Yorkman, I was looking forward to your book about skeptics. Jake, I mean, I'm not going to write a book about skeptics. I'm sorry. It's been done before by other people like Chris Carter. Not the X-Files Chris Carter. Another Chris Carter wrote a book called The Fall of the House of Skeptic. I mean, the thing about it, if I wrote a book about skeptics, it would simply be like an anthology of my articles, which you can read for free anyway. I'll tell you what, Jake, if you like my writing, go to Ben's bookcase. I've got a short story called Ouija, which is like a fictional version. It's fictional, but it's about skeptics. I'm thinking maybe of adapting, maybe writing a novel about skeptics. That would be quite fun, yeah. Pookie says, get the book while you can. All right, Ben's books have started to disappear mysteriously. What? Oh, I think, Pookie, you're having me on. You're having me on, mate. You're having me on. Come on. I often think, oh, Post-Disclosure World has just uploaded a video. Good, I'll watch that when I finish this. What do I know here? What, John Nolan, hello. What do you think of Kerry Cassidy these days? I do not listen to her much anymore because she believes everything her so-called contacts tell her. I respect her. I mean, I think she is not discerning enough, and the quality of her material varies enormously from very bad to very good, depending on who she's interviewing. I mean, there are some people, yeah, John, some of the people she puts on her platform, it's like, I've got to say the same thing about Miles, actually, bless his heart. Some of the people she puts on her platform, like, just talk utter bilge. And others are really good, and she's a good interviewer. She asks good questions. Whoever is actually she has in her studio, she asks some very good questions, and I think she's very good. I think it's terrible she's lost her YouTube channel, and that's bloody awful. And I do follow her on BitChute. I do. That's all the edgy stuff I now watch on BitChute. BitChute or Odyssey. Forget YouTube. I just watch sort of normal and inoffensive stuff on YouTube now. Diego Rivera. Andrew Johnson is the Antichrist with his fleece. Oh well, everyone is now talking about bloody who's the Antichrist. Nihilist lives matter. RDH is turning into a poor man's Howard Hughes. I like Howard though. I mean, I listen his show. His show is actually good though. I like Howard Hughes. This is Howard Hughes across the UK, around the world. He's got this great voice, hasn't he? I met him once actually. He was at the Beyond Knowledge 2 conference in Liverpool. Around the world by webcast and by podcast. My name is Howard Hughes, and this is The Unexplained. He's never had me on his show. Oh no, I was on his show once, but it was on his live airwave show. I was on briefly, and it was never recorded. Unfortunately, it was not on his podcast. J1, hello Jay. Soon they're going to come out and say we've been in contact with an alien race who told us we have to reduce carbon emissions to save the planet. Betcha. Oh, there'll be something like that, Jay. They'll come up with some other crisis, that's for sure. Caligula says Richard D. Hall is possibly COINTEL, Pro, Black Ops, Mossad, CIA, Intel. Oh, goodness me. Caligula, right? You are more like Richard than Richard is. You really are. He's not. He's none of those things. Honestly, Caligula, all I've heard you do is you say Daniel Bostock is all these things you said about Richard. You just said about Daniel Bostock. You're starting to sound like Caroline Stevens. You really are. Are you a male? Are you Caroline Stevens' brother? Are you a male equivalent of Caroline Stevens? Hatchy, hello. How are you? Where are we now? Where we go? Cosmic Claire says, I just saw a headline someone sent me where Boris says there will be a third wave in the autumn. Oh, goodness me, yeah. Well, knock me down with a feather. Who could have predicted it? Yeah. A third wave. Then there'll be a fourth wave and a fifth wave. And oh, my goodness me. Oh, dear. And there's this new one in India, isn't there? Oh, my God, there's a new variant coming out of India. Oh, God, my goodness me. It's so awful. It's so terrible. Whenever you catch it, you have this desperate urge to play the sitar and eat lots of curry. Pookie Nana says to me, I don't think disclosure will be driven by government wanting to be honest, but rather because obvious manifestations to the whole world. Possibly, Pookie, but, obvious manifestations kind of have already happened. I mean, this is something that Bryce Zabel was talking about. He thought that if there was a very obvious massive sighting above a big city, that they wouldn't be able to deny it anymore, but... Probably 1997, the Phoenix Lights. What was that? A very obvious unknown object flew over a city of 1 million people. It's seen everywhere. We know that the mayor of the governor of Arizona lied about it. He admitted it. Jake Yorkman says, Ben, if I ever meet you, I'll buy you a pint. You're one guy I'd love to have a pint with. Jake, thank you. You too. I would love to come. If you come along Truth Seekers Northeast, we'll meet up at some point. Yeah. Diego Rivera, could the Antichrist be an alien like Russell? What, Russell? Why are horns growing out of your head? Give me my book back! Yes. Yeah, someone's talking about another lockdown. I mean, it's hard to... It does seem to believe, doesn't it, that they're going to come along with some reason to say, It's like, all the easing of the lockdown between now and the 21st of June is subject to various conditions, and we've already seen those conditions being breached with this new variant from India and the fourth wave or the fifth wave or whatever it bloody is in the autumn. What happened to 2 weeks to flatten the curve? Remember that? And now they're saying, guess what? And now what they're saying? Oh, guess what? This new Indian variant, the vaccine won't work on it. Right. So what's the point of having the bloody vaccine then? Ooh. Jake Yorkman says he's read Ouija. Oh, great, Jake. Brilliant. I'm actually in the middle of adapting that into a stage play. So that's another thing I'm working on at the moment. I'm sort of, as far as the Obscurati Chronicles go, and if you read the sample chapters, by all means, I'm thinking, I haven't made up my mind yet, but I'm edging more towards the decision to make it a book rather than an internet serial. Cosmic Claire, are they still phoning you up about the bloody vaccine? That's happened to Tina as well. I just said, bastards, just go away, leave me alone. They haven't done that to me, luckily. J1, the Earth is flat. Oh my goodness me. The UFOs come from beyond lands beyond Antarctica, not outer space. Space does not exist. Oh, Jay, we're going to have fun, I'll tell you. We're going to have fun, mate, I'll tell you. Patrick says, do you reckon the European Super League for football was part of a hidden agenda to create the United States of Europe that David Icke often talks about? I knew it was going to be blackballed by JP Morgan. Possibly, Patrick. I know now that Brexit has happened, they're going to try and find some new system, new way of organising, like the New World Order, the two-stage continental version of their plan for the one world government. Funny enough, this came up on the Kev Baker show on Monday. We were talking about this because he's really annoyed about this. He's a big Celtic fan, you know, and he thinks it's horrible. What's happened with football is essentially the same as what's happened with books, with Amazon and things like that. You know, all the bookshops are shut down. You have to go to Amazon to get this. Not just books, but anything. It's like the big corporations are coming in and cleaning up. This has been going on in football for a while, but it's really been accelerated by the lockdown. Like everything else, the corporate takeovers have been accelerated on everything, haven't they? Dave's talking about David Icke being banned. David Icke's been banned everywhere apart from like alt-tech now. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, Maureen's recruited Jake Yorkman. That's brilliant. Jake, he's in York, but that's not Kent's name. That's not too far away, is it? That's not too far away. I think I did sub to Jake Yorkman. Yes, I did. But Jake's got a good YouTube channel. Yeah, it's some. Oh, look at this. Yeah, hey, Jake's son. Have a look at his. Yeah, here's Jake's channel, so you can check it out. Have a look at this. There you go. Jake, that looks really good, mate. Lots of drone work, drone and things. Nice one, mate. Nice one. Well done, buddy. Vanilla says strontium, barium and cadmium advantageous, really good alien hologram in the sky. We've heard that recipe before. Yes. Chemtrails, Vanilla, yeah. Chemtrails, that's right. Really, if you have anything in the sky, any kind of vapors or any kind of like particulates in the sky is all you need. This is why the thing about if holograms were used on 9/11, it's actually not. People say, well, that's impossible. You couldn't produce realistic, solid-looking objects in the sky. Yes, you could. It's very easy. It can be done with computer-controlled laser beams on some kind of medium, something to project it against. I've seen it done I saw it done at Thorpe Park when I was long ago. Yeah. Caligula, and masks are never going away. The new normal. Yeah. I bet you people will stop, even if there's a rule. The rules about mask wearing are lifted. I bet you some buggers will still keep wearing them. I bet you. Hattie says, thanks for the mention, Ben. Love you on the Kev Baker show. We need more of you and Mr. Everard. Love and respect. Oh, thanks. Actually, I've been on Christopher Everard's show. I'd love to go back. I mean, I interviewed him on the Hapanlo show once. He's an interesting chap. TK said, Donald Trump says directly, take the vaccine, folks. It's safe. Oh, did he? Damn, they must have Barron or Melania in custody. Oh, man. I hope maybe he can do what Boris would do and get the special forces to release them. I hope so. Diego Rivera says, huge telescopes are being built that will change everything we know about space. Well, maybe they'll see another Oumuamua. Marky Boello, Marky, I was talking to you earlier on comments. Yeah, Bojo the Clown moving to tablets is a sign that the jab take-up is falling. Yeah, tablets now. So, yeah, you see, there's been experiments done on people who refused injections will often take something orally. Like those vaccines they spray up your nose. People who anti-vax, right, will sometimes take the nose spray ones because it's less invasive. But it's purely psychological. The same chemicals are going into you, whether it goes in through your mouth, whether it goes in through your nose, whether it goes into your veins, or whether it's a suppository up your ass, right? It's the same material. It's the same thing. Where are we now? Vrillon says, all right. Vrillon says they're saying they're trying to pass a law that all people in care homes will have to take the vaccine or lose their jobs. Same in the NHS, Vrillon, yeah. Bushcraft Ninja says, we're watching here in Donegal. Oh, great. Nice one, Bushcraft. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining the live stream. Cosmic Claire says, Stanford University published a peer-reviewed study a couple of weeks ago which demonstrates that not only do masks not prevent transmissions of viruses, but they have detrimental effects on the wearers. Correct. Correct. Some people have been taking a mickey by wearing full hazmat suits with gas masks when they go into shops and things like that. Well, ironically, if you want to protect yourself from airborne viruses, that's what you have to wear. You've seen people wearing them in hospitals. On the wards. Look at what people wear. Look at what the professionals wear on the hospital wards. I've worn these things. All over plastic suit, gloves, Wellington boots, goggles, filter mask. That's what you have to wear if you are a nurse or doctor on a COVID-19 ward. So why is it though? Why is it then if you go into some supermarket, you put a piece of cotton fabric over your mouth and nose, and it does the same job? Caligula says it talks about Brave New World, 1984. Yes, two books you should read. One by George Orwell, one by his school teacher, Aldous Huxley. When I found out that Aldous Huxley was Orwell's school teacher, it made sense. Made perfect sense. Pookie Nana says, J1 says, talking about ivermectin. Yeah, says that COVID doesn't exist. It's fabricated, like space. I think the illness exists, Jay, but it's been completely and utterly harnessed to this agenda. Really, it has, when it shouldn't be. I believe I've had the illness, Jay. I believe I've had it. My symptoms were very typical. Pookie says, have you seen the black fibres being discovered in face masks, Ben? Yeah. It reminds me of... And they're in the PCR tests as well. It reminds me of those... It reminds me of what Jam Noise talks about, with the Morgellon stuff and the fibres in chemtrails. Claire says, I've got a friend who's in care work and she's suspended on full pay while I consider her case, refusing to get vaxxed. Oh, bastards. Absolute bastards. Maureen says, I'm the only one at my workplace who hasn't had the jab and there's no way I'm having it. Well done, Maureen. If enough people refuse, they can't sack everyone. Claire, what does her trade union say? Is she a member of a trade union? I know because there's a lot of pressure in the NHS now for the unions to do something about it because there's a lot of people in the NHS refusing. I put an article on the HBWA blog about it. Care homes, uncare homes, I call them. I said I think on another video, I was talking about my dad. Me and my brother was having a conversation about my dad, and my father's 74, and I was saying, if he ever needed residential care, we'd give it to him. We'd look after him ourselves. There's no way we would dump him in one of these shitholes. Absolutely no way. Totally and utterly. The black worms in the mask people are talking about. Yeah. God, I've been good more than 2 hours. I'm going to stop soon, guys, if that's all right. Yeah. Vrillon says this could be dangerous for an employer legally to force people to have the vaccine. Well, there's some court cases going on. I mean, I know that the High Court overturned the vaccine passport bill. I mean, sometimes these things work against the government. There are some court cases going on. I think there's like they're in a pre-court situation, people consulting solicitors and things like that. It's something that the more people who do it, the better. That's the thing. I mean, I would, if I was still in the NHS now, I'd be one of them. Patrick says, I know you cook your own food, but what exactly do you cook? Is it like spaghetti bolognese? Sometimes, Patrick, yes. I do sometimes, yes. Not always, but sometimes I do. Where's Patrick Patel's comment? I've slipped down again. I've lost my place. All right, here we go. Yeah. David says, it seems like they're harmless microfibers. If they're moving, David, they move of their own accord like worms. I don't think that's that reminds me of the Morgellon stuff. Bushcraft Ninja says Stockholm Syndrome is big time in play. Yeah. It's a part, you see, Bushcraft, you know, the government, they employ these top psychologists, people like Isabel Benzies Lythe in the Tavistock Institute, who was a horrible person. They employ these people who are ruthless and really nasty people, and like manipulating people. They enjoy it, and they believe that the way forward is to basically have a dictatorship of the mind. They say it openly. I mean, I don't know about the Isabel Menzies' life. She was a part of an institution which actually said that. John Nolan says Alex Jones has lost his mojo. I do watch him sometimes. His coverage of his election coverage is very good, though. It did. Where are we now? People are talking about Morgellon stuff. J1 says, I'd rather be hanging in the back of a transit van going down a bumpy road trying to shave a Rottweiler's arse with a blunt razor than take this poisonous concoction of shit. That's a good way to put it, Jay, isn't it? Yeah. Claire says, I don't think she's in a union. Oh, Claire, it's I don't know what to suggest. I mean, just... You could put her in touch with other people online who are in the same boat. Maybe they could stick together that way. Besides, trade unions are bloody useless. I was a trade unionist, as I've described, for a very short time when I started in the NHS, and I will absolutely not. It didn't take me long to see through it. Marky boy. See you, Marky. Is off. That's cool. Okay, take care. Thanks for joining me, Marky boy. Where are we now? There's more people arriving. David says, Pookie Nana, Closet Claire Ben. Have a look at the video that Microbe Hunter made explaining what these things are, microfibers, and he replicates what happens and why. All right, David, I'll have a look. Okay. Nitri, hello, how are you? Nitri's there. Who else is going? Several people are leaving. Jock of Ages is off. Okay. See you, Jock. Nitri says, I got raped by my great-grandpa. No one knows. Oh, my goodness. Nitri, I'm sorry about that. You should call the police. SJ Sanks Enga says, what's this stream about? Well, SJ, thanks for joining me. I'm going to end it in a minute, actually. Sorry, but the recording will be available for you. It's about a book which is about the Antichrist and my experience with it. But then we go off topic like we always do and discuss lots of other things too. But the recording will be available for you. I'll be uploading it also to... I'll also be uploading it to other platforms. BitChute, Odyssey, etc. So Commodus is off. Good night, Commodus. Good night. I'm going to call it a night now, guys. All right. See ya, Jay. See ya. I'll see you. I'll see you again soon, guys. I'm feeling a bit tired actually. I've been going for 2 hours 12 minutes. Thank you very much, Pookie Nana. Night, Pookie. Love all the ghosts. It's been good, all of you. Pookie Nana, Villanora, Cosmic Claire, David Splendid Isolation, Pookie Nana, Maureen, Jake Yorkman, Nitri, and everyone else who's watched. See you. Take it easy. No nights, David. Maureen, I'll inbox you. I need to have a little rest, but I will inbox you. Okay, and hopefully talk to you tomorrow evening. I'll get my preparation done. I'll talk to you tomorrow evening. That'd be really, really good. Night, Pookie Nana. Night, Bushcraft Ninja. Night, Vanilla. Night, SJ. Night, Villanora. You're welcome, Christy. Night, Sue. Thanks for getting up, Sue. Night, you guys. It's been great. It's been another great live stream. There'll be another video soon about something else. Night, Claire. And it's going to be, I'll be doing a comments reply video as well very soon. So I know some of you want to get round to comments, and I will get round to them. All right, including the one by Andrew Johnson. That'll be fun. I've got it screenshotted, Andrew. If you're thinking of deleting it, It's all stored. You can't get away from me. Good night, Paul Armstrong. Take care, guys. Of 49 viewers. All right, take it easy.